Hi, my name is Michael and welcome back to another episode of Amarok Weekendalander. So after I made the video about the drawer system that I built, I got quite a lot of questions asking just how I use these boxes and what's in them. They are by no means a perfect system, but I think I'm now at the point where I know exactly what I want from my system. These were just something to get us on the road and get all of our stuff organised. These all live on a shelf in my garage, so it means I can just lift them off, put them straight in, and I have camping specific equipment, so that all I know I need to add is food and clothes, and then I'm adventure ready. So these boxes aren't my permanent solution. When I do finally sort of remake what I'm going to do, I will do an update video for them, but for now, this is the system that I have. It is far from perfect, and there are a lot of changes that I want to make, but that's only come as a result of me using these over the last sort of 6 to 12 months. We've got a few different boxes for a few different purposes, so let's dive straight in and tell you what's what within these boxes. So before we dive in just that little bit closer and I give you more detail, I will bring the camera in so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's just talk about generally what they are. These two both live on drawer number 2, and these are general sort of camping equipment and utensils and food related and all that sort of thing. This top one lives on top of the wolf box, which lives behind the fridge on drawer number 1. This tray is something that I am definitely getting rid of. It's too big, it's too heavy, it's not really fit for purpose, but I do quite like these small boxes, so I might look to reintegrate these into the new solution. And then there's the wolf box on the bottom from Frontrunner or whatever sort of proprietary branding has been added to it. And that's our food box. Okay, it might not sound great being in a black box, but it's strong and I don't want any of our food getting damaged, so I'll bring the camera in and have a look at each of these. These have been modified slightly, which I'm quite sort of proud of, given that the solution that I wanted didn't exist. So we'll dive into box 2 and 3, and then we'll go into these boxes just so you can see what's in them. Just as a quick little side note, these boxes have been used and I haven't repacked them again since our sort of last 3 trips, so they are a bit of a pigsty, so don't judge me on them. They will be getting packed once I rebuild them. So like I just said, these live on drawer number 2, the ones closest to the big wide lane, and it starts with this tray. The reason why I've got these is I would love to have 2 wolf boxes stacked on top of each other, but I can't because of the height of the roller shutter that I've got. I do explain more about that in my DIY drawers video, so have a look, which will be linked somewhere around. But basically it's a height restriction. No matter what configuration I used, whether it was a low lid or a high lid on that wolf box, I can't fit 2 of them in together, which is a shame because I would much rather have them in a wolf box because they're nice and strong. So this is just what I've got to do instead. So I've made this tray out of 18mm hardwood ply. It's too heavy, it's too thick, it's not really fit for purpose. It's something I just made with some scrap leftovers. You know, it was fine at the time, but now I've lived with it, I want to change it. But these 2 boxes I don't want to change. This first one is our extensive first aid kit. These are just small boxes, I can't remember the literage size, but they have everything that you would need, and I mean everything from mosquito repellent to cotton buds to petroleum jelly, burn plaster, bandages, all sorts of tapes, feminine products, flu, elastoplasts, latex gloves. You get my point. It's an extensive first aid kit. And it's super easily accessible, so that in the event of an emergency or a relative emergency on a campsite, somebody can sort of self-recover and get that out very easily. It's in a very easy to open lid, so that if you do have some kind of injury, you can get open nice and easily. So that's the first aid kit. I'm not going to go through everything. And then the other sort of quick access one is what I like to kind of call my utility box. This has our tarp in it, which you can sort of put over the side of the cab, which you would have to use in conjunction with some telescopic awning poles. There is an array of pegs in here, a mallet, the suction cup anchors, and it's just an idea that this is everything you need to quick pitch when you get to site. I think I'm going to change around what's in here. There are some things that maybe aren't in here that could go into deeper storage rather than quick access, but again, I like the idea of having these 2 really easy, really quick to access boxes, so that anything that I need is ideally first order of retrievability. Not perfect, obviously we're in a drawer system, so that's going to be far from there, but these 2 don't really change, and I really envision them changing very much, other than probably making it into one big box that's compartmentalized, or maybe 2 smaller boxes, but these will probably change format, but the contents will remain the same. So then the thing that lives under that tray is this wolf box. This one's by Tentacle, but you do get made by Frontrunner and all sorts of other branding gets added to them, but they are essentially all the same thing. I love these. I really wish I could use my full setup for them, but given the sort of constraints I have within the drawer system, they just don't fit. But these are great. You can stand on them. You know, I'm quite a big guy. I'm north of the wrong side of 250 pounds. And I can stand on them, so anybody can. They're a useful camp step for that sort of thing. Great for putting your feet on. We use ours. This is a low lid version. Originally had the high lid version. I still have the high lid at home just so that I can swap it around if I need to, but had to go to the low lid so I could fit the tray on. This is now our sort of non-perishable food box, and this is our camp box. So I'm not a prepper in any way, shape or form, but this is just things that we can take straight away with us, knowing that we've always got some kind of food. Say we want a last minute trip or we get invited somewhere, we can just take this. So let's have a quick look inside. There's 4 catches. This, I think, is a bit of a stroke of genius on my part. I won't lie, I am going to blow my own trumpet on that. It is just a small compartmentalised toolbox, and it's all of the various teas, coffees, sugars and sauces and things that I have liberated from various hotel stays in my time, and that's just a nice neat way to organise them all, so they're all compartmentalised. We know exactly what we do have, don't have, anything like that. Always have some kind of rice in here, so it's like a boil in the bag thing, great for small stoves. I do have some plywood scraps in as dividers. That needs to change, but that will come. Alongside that rice, there's always a tin of sort of cheap supermarket curry in here, so again, that we know we've always got some kind of food. That's a 2-person meal between the curry and the rice, which doesn't sound great, but you know, it's better than going hungry. Not that we're ever going to be in that circumstance, but it's just so that it's there and we have another option. Obviously got marshmallows for campfire, goes without saying. A tin of chopped tomatoes, anything that can just be added to stuff. Then bigger after that, we've got porridge, again just add water. Then we have hot chocolates, more rice, couscous that we've got, and then more porridge packets, and then I've got a boil in the bag meal that I've had for a long time. Still don't even know if that's in date, to be honest, so we'll see. And then the third and final compartment is these, which I think are my absolute favourite things ever I've discovered in camping. They are a pancake mix shaker. All you need to do is add water up to a certain point, give them a shake for 2 minutes, and then you have perfect pancake batter. One of them bottles will feed 2 people quite comfortably for a breakfast. Don't have to worry about perishability. You know, I got these in Christmas from somebody, actually, in like a hamper from my cousin. So thanks again, Hannah, if you ever end up watching this. But so that was December 2022 we got these, and they have a date of May 2024, so these can just live in here pretty much indefinitely, and we'll just replace them. They are really, really cheap as well, so we'll use them. Obviously, because we've got pancakes, you've got to have pancake toppings, again, non-perishable, so just keep it in there. Various different sauces and sprays. I don't really like Fry Light, but these are empty. One's vegetable oil, one's olive oil that you can just use again because it's easy to dispense, and then a bottle of tomato sauce. Sometimes put our bread in here and our more perishable and softer stuff because it's a nice strong box, but there's plenty of room still left in there. And this is just one of our food boxes that we take. The other food box lives in the back of the truck. The only things that go in the back of the truck is that other food box. Boxes with clothes in, much prefer boxes for clothes than bags, but we'll cover that in a different video. Firewood box, probably the level and ramps, and maybe my camera. Other than that, everything else goes in the bed. So these are the 2 boxes that go behind the fridge. Really, really happy with that setup. Once we get the tray sorted, that'll be that one done. So that's the boxes and trays in drawer number 2. Right, this is one of the big boxes that goes on the other drawer, the one that's not the one that's next to the fridge. Now, the big numbers on the end were the idea that eventually, that once we've got the system dialed and sort of sorted, if somebody says, oh, where's your plates, and go draw box 2, that's the idea. Doesn't really work at the minute because we haven't quite perfected the setup, but this box is going to go away. These are just too fragile to be having stuff stacked on top of them. They shatter, particularly if you go away camping in the cold. So, and also the fact that they're slightly chamfered means you do lose a tiny bit of space. So I am going to remake these probably out of 9mm ply, raptor line them so that they're water resistant, but I do want to kind of mirror the setup that I've got, and I really do like this. These were boxes that I bought just from B&M Bargains in the UK, but they fit 2 of these smaller boxes in really, really quite nicely. All I did is I went to B&Q, which is a sort of a home centre here, bought an extra piece of wood, bolted it on, and now these sit within this box, and it just means that they're so much more organised, and it just makes accessing things so much easier. You don't have to move all of this stuff to get what's in the bottom, which is the bigger stuff. So I'll talk you through the big box first before we go on to these smaller ones. So in the bottom of the big box is more your big items. The full and spade is in there. That shouldn't be there, that should be in the other one, but again, like I said, these have been lived with for a while, so will need changed. Got my sort of long barbecue utensils in there, plates and bowls. There is a pop-up washing up bowl in the bottom, a set of billy tins. We do have pretty much everything in duplicate because me and my partner go camping a lot. We don't really do solo that much. There is a chopping board in the bottom of here, and like I say, this is all purely camping equipment. It doesn't go anywhere else other than in here. Once it's finished, it gets washed up and it gets returned to here, so that we know that all we need to do is have these boxes. Yes, there's a few things I want to add to them that I've sort of learned over time that I'm missing, but that comes with sort of practice and experience and living with them. So one of the small boxes that goes with this one, this is kind of, again, a bit miscellaneous, this one. These are great, by the way. These are things that go on top of a open beverage can so that you can then preserve it. Also great for keeping beasties and wasps and things out. I'll link them in the description because I think these are well worth having. I do like these a lot. I've got an aero press, I've got some knives in here, again dedicated campsite knives, just normal kitchen knives but just a cheap set to keep here. More sort of cooking utensils. These are plastic pint glasses that we kept from when we went to see Luke Combs at the Oval Hydro. Like I say, this is a bit more of a miscellaneous box, but it's a box nonetheless and it keeps stuff in. Just could do with being a bit tidier, but I'll sort that out when I rebuild them. And then that just sits on that rail in there. This one is a bit more organised. This is basically kind of like drinks. So we've got just various mugs, insulated flasks, cups. So there's 4 of them. I could probably get rid of them, but I only need 2. But it just means that all of our camp equipment is in these boxes. And then that is just an OEX small boiling pot with a little frying pan and lid on the top. Basically our tea and coffee kit to use with the AeroPress and various things, rather than boiling up a full pan. That just lives in there. That's got a cup inside it as well. So box 2 is kind of like utensils and various sort of kitchenware and things like that. So again, we just take these out, put these in our air annex, and that's about it. But as you can see, you know, the lids aren't a perfect fit, but they're good enough for now. So that's box number 2. Let's go on to box number 3. Right, box number 3 is basically a duplicate of box number 2 in terms of how it works with the rails and the smaller boxes. Again, this is going to be rebuilt, so it's not perfect. Some of the boxes are a bit shattered, and this is by far the messiest box, so please don't judge me. This is the one that gets used the most. So this top box, we'll start at the top this time, is kind of like cleaning supplies. So there's washing up liquid, there's hand sanitizer, there's pegs. The washing line should be in there, but it's in the other one. So just an example of showing how sort of messy things are. Bin bags are in there, wet wipes, carrier bags. So that's kind of our washing up and cleaning box. Again, it's nice having it all in one place because you can just see there it is. So that's that small one. This is kind of a utility miscellaneous box. This is the one I'm really probably the least happy with, because we've got, like, if I just look through it, the washing line, which needs something sorted, barbecue skewers, Thermarest mosquito repeller. This I talk about in my top 10 camping luxury gadgets thing to have. Brilliant, without a shadow of a doubt, brilliant. Have one of them. All of the spare Thermacell pads. These aren't the genuine Thermacell pads, so don't worry about it, because they're like 1,000% cheaper. I bought 200 of these for sub £10, whereas I think you get about 6 of them for £12 with Thermarest. So, not Thermarest, Thermacell. So just make sure that you buy the cheap ones and put 2 of them in rather than one of the Thermarest ones. We've got our camping lamp, we have a little roller toilet roll, I don't know why we've got that. And then it's like matches and cigarette lighters, just so that we've got, you know, plenty of ignition sources. We aren't the kind of people that go out roughing it, so I'm not bothered about using a flint and steel. I just want things to light. We've got glow sticks in there. I've got the iCamper seam sealer kit that I've got but thankfully never had to use, and then some just additional D-cell batteries. Again, so this is probably the messiest one of the lot, but it's still not bad, because all you've got to do is look through that rather than look through everything else. Right, then this is the mess. This is the worst one by far, but this is mainly containing gas. So we've got a couple of different cylinders. This is for the Thermarest mainly, but again, we do have a smaller stove just for using teas and coffees and things. These cylinders, I have 8 of them at the minute. I seem to have quite a lot, but I just think I've got space for them. Why not bring them all? So I'd rather have too many than run out. So we've got plenty of them. Bearing in mind we keep 2 in the actual stove boxes themselves, just disconnected. We have the fire pit in here, which is in this little box. This is a collapsible fire pit, which is brilliant as well. Again, in that top 10 camping sort of must-haves. These are Montane Prism booties, which are kind of like camping slippers is probably the best way to describe them. Great for keeping your feet warm in the air tent. Little sweeping pan and brush, some various microfibers and a windbreak for the stove. So that's our boxes is the best way to describe it. There's a lot of stuff in there. I'm not going to take it all out because I am in the middle of Northumberland at the minute and I'm starting to get a bit sunburned because it's way warmer than it normally is in the northeast at this time of year. So that's it for my boxes and my setup in camping. Everything here is camping specific, so I know that all I need to do is take these off the shelf, put them in the truck, in the drawers, and then I'm ready to go, and all I need to add is clothes and food. I like that idea of being adventure ready. It's not like a prepper mentality, it's just so that I don't forget stuff when camping. I am horrendous at forgetting stuff. Just ask my partner what happened the last time I was sort of responsible for packing and I left the fridge power cable at home. So whilst I'm really happy with these, they are by far from perfect and they will probably last us until the end of the summer, but then the plan is to change these. So the only thing that will be staying is this Black Wolf box. Like I've said many times in this video already, I would love to have my whole setup based out of these. It's just not practical in terms of the space that I've got available. So this will stay, this will remain as our food box, just because it is useful around camp as well and it's nice and strong. Everything else is going to go and get rebuilt. I think I'm going to replace these big plastic ones with probably 2 smaller ones, but they will have to be big enough that again can fit in a chopping board or something somewhere, either standing up or lying down. But the plan is to have it so that these kind of things still remain. Will probably end up being rebuilt, but the idea is that I like the small box within the big box. It just makes organising them and accessing them a lot easier. So these big clear plastic boxes will be replaced with big wooden boxes that I'm going to build, because then they'll fit my specification, probably out of 9mm softwood ply. But then the issue is they're not see-through, so I'm not sure how I'm going to get around that. Might paint the insides white or something, but we'll work that out. So they're going to be replaced probably with 2 smaller boxes of the same size as one big clear one. Haven't quite decided yet. We'll have to think that through over the next couple of sort of weeks and months. This is definitely getting replaced, this tray. It's too big. If it was a 9mm base, it would probably fit under the shutter a lot easier. At the minute it does, but it's literally a millimetre or 2's worth of clearance. It does catch and it hits these boxes. I really like these small ones for how I use them, but again they're a bit brittle being plastic, so these will probably be remade. These plastic ones were a cheap solution. I'll use them in my garage somewhere else. I'm not just going to bin the plastic. They will get used, just so that they're a bit more robust. They'll get raptor lined or bed lined or whatever you want to call it in your country, just so that they are water resistant. At least I'm not going to say waterproof. Seal the edges of the plywood, and then when I do that, I'll do a bit of an update video and see how we go. Might even be an interim update video depending on how this camping season goes, because we are only just about on the fringes of June. Still have a lot of camping ahead, so we'll see how that goes. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. Some of the products that are in here that I've talked about will be linked in the video description. They are affiliate links, which means no extra cost to you, but I get a little bit of a kickback from the supplier, which just goes a massive way to sort of helping this channel grow and sort of fund itself. Thank you very much if you consider buying from one of those. A huge thank you if you do buy from one of those. But what everybody could do that is completely free of charge is, if you think I've earned a subscription, hit that subscribe button. If you think I've earned a thumbs up, please do that as well. Drop a comment in the description if there's anything you want to know more about, hear about, discuss about, give me some recommendations of what you think I could do differently. I'm going to get these packed up, I'm going to get back in the truck, I'm going to make my way home, because I feel like I'm getting really quite sunburnt and probably a little bit bitten here. I'm going to have to check myself for ticks. I will see you out on our next adventure somewhere. Thanks, bye-bye.